Hey, what's going on, Golferos? Welcome back to Salud Golferos, the podcast. This is episode 11. I'm back with Dom. Dom, welcome back to the pod, man.
Thanks for having me again. I'm glad I didn't wear out my first time.
Nah, you were good, man. We went long on that one, but there was
Yeah.
still a lot of good content that we have left. So we'll definitely be having you back multiple times. So glad this is number 2 for you. Heck yeah. So yeah, guys, it's just Dom and I today. What we want to talk about is I've been in a reflective mood lately. I joined a book club at work, which my wife loves. And we started reading this book called Mindsets, and it's just I think that's put me in a reflective mood, just kind of thinking about um, how I put myself into a good, strong mindset and how I carry myself, things like that. So, Dom, we're about to go deep into this one.
So, fun fact, one of my best friends is a avid book reader,
Okay.
and it's not Derek. Derek does read books. But she is what is now known as like an Instagram book girly.
Okay.
So she has an Instagram page just for books she reads.
Oh, okay. You're gonna have to
So
send that to me. Yeah.
yeah, so she'll read the book, post a picture of it, and then like rate it, and then like give like a short review. It's pretty
Uh-huh.
cool. But yeah, I call her like Instagram book girly.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to send that to me. My wife follows a few TikTok girlies as far as
Mm,
the books and all that. So I'm sure she'll probably give her a follow and probably go down that list.
probably.
I think in the last 2 years, my wife is approaching like 100 books.
Jeez,
Yeah, she
I don't think
powers
I've
through
read a
books.
single book in the last 2 years.
I was actually at work. We were having a meeting, and we were talking about like what's the statistic of people that read books once all of their schooling is done. And statistically, the majority of the population reads one book in their lifetime after their official schooling is done.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel bad saying that because we've had like authors on the pod, and
Uh-huh.
we have another one at like the end of the month, and I have not even started their book yet.
Come on, Tom.
I know.
Come on.
I know. I have it. It's back on my bookshelf. I have
Yeah.
it. I just have to like crack it open.
Okay. Yeah. Get into it, man. Um, yeah, talking about the book that I've been reading. So like I said, mindsets, talking about what like a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Um, and really what it comes down to is if you have a fixed mindset, if anything bad happens to you, you're kind of that person that's just like blaming the world. You're just like, oh yeah, like it's too tough. I'm not gonna try it. Like, forget that. It's not worth my time. Where it's like a growth mindset is talking about ooh, something difficult popped up, it's on my plate now. I'm super excited, I want to dive into it, and I'm going to take on that challenge and I'm going to beat it. um what would you consider yourself to be? Do you think that you have a fixed mindset in life, or do you have a growth mindset?
No, I'm pretty open-minded. Um, I just think those people who um I don't want to say being like one track minded is a bad thing,
Hmm.
but if that one track goes off the rails, then those people I feel like struggle and don't really know how to cope.
Hmm.
Um, I would say being a creative person like I am, I almost have to be open-minded. If plan A fails, I have to have a plan B and C.
Hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that. And it's like I said, I've been really reflective because I've been reading this book and I've been thinking about it, and I was like, man, in my earlier years, I definitely felt like I was like that, especially like with school, because school came so easily to me. Um, I was an A and B student, and so it was just like it's all right. Like I don't have to try that hard. I can get through it. But then there was other aspects of my life. Like I was a big football guy. Football is what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be in and around the sport as much as possible. So it's like anytime I ran into an obstacle that way, I was like, cool, I'm gonna go lift more or I'm gonna go run more so that I can be better at that
Mhm.
aspect of the sport. Um, so yeah, I think like you said, and from an artistic standpoint, you kind of have to have that open mindedness and that growth mindset. Otherwise, it's like, dude, you're never gonna develop and be as creative as you want to be.
Yeah, and I don't wanna say I was bad at school, but I was never great at school.
Hmm.
Um, where I'm always been more creative, I've been more social, um, stuff like that, where, like, my younger brother gets school super easy, it just comes naturally to him, where he kinda
Hmm.
struggles in other aspects where I excel, so it's always interesting to see how different people can be like that. Um, but yeah, I don't wanna only rely on one thing, I think
Hmm.
it's good to have a plan B or at least a backup idea of what you wanna do, um, because you're not anywhere near football, where talking about
Yeah.
golf. It's
Oh
crazy,
yeah.
right?
Dude, it's so wild. Like I said, I always thought that I was going to be in and around football, especially after I graduated from college. I was just like, okay, I'm going to go find a job that's because I had tried to walk on and play football at my university,
Mhm,
and my stubbornness. So see, here's the fixed mindset coming in. When I was younger, my stubbornness was I'm gonna play quarterback in college. I was a quarterback in high school. I was like, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna try to walk on. Like even if I'm like the eighth man on the roster as far as the QB position, like I'm gonna go make it at that position. And I remember going to the walk-on tryouts, and I've always had good footwork. That's always been my compliment from people like in and around sports is like your footwork's amazing. Like you can, move so easily for being a bigger guy. In at that point I was 6'1", 190 pounds.
mhm.
And I went to the walk-on tryouts, and the DB coach comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are you trying out for?" I was like, "Oh, I'm trying out for quarterback." They make you do every drill, no matter what position you're doing. They have you go through everything. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go out for quarterback." He's like, we have 8 on the depth chart, right?" He's like, "So even if you came on, you'd be number 9 right now." I was like, "No, yeah, it's cool." And my head was like, I'm gonna prove that I'm a hard worker and that I'm dedicated to my craft. And I was like, that's fine. Like I could come on at that ninth guy, and I'll work my ass off, and I can make it. He's like, all right. He's like, you don't want to try out for safety? He's like, we could probably use you at safety. He's like, you're a big guy, you got great feet, your footwork's good. And once again, like I was so fixed on doing that one thing that I'm like, dude, I didn't make it. I didn't make it
Mhm.
onto the team. And it's super funny because I was talking to Raul once about my whole football career, and I did the same thing in high school. It was just so weird. I made the same mistake twice. High school was the same thing where I was a sophomore, and my coach was just like, "Hey man, like we have too many quarterbacks. Like, um, I don't think we're gonna be able to use you this season. There, we got juniors and seniors ahead of you." So I went to safety, started playing safety. The varsity coach was like, "Dude, you're good. Let's bring you onto varsity as a sophomore, and get you some playing time." I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna do it." Soon as the quarterback coach showed me some love, like, "Hey, you know what, Cachero, let's actually get you back at QB. Like, we could use you out here." I went, I went back. I was on JV, missed out on varsity. Long story short, it took me a whole while to earn my spot at QB and start. But yeah, and fixed mindsets definitely cost me a little bit there.
I think that's a pretty common thing with athletes, though. We obviously the NFL draft just happened. I remember when, obviously you're a big Ravens guy. I remember when Lamar
Hmm.
was coming out, they're like, guy can never be a quarterback. He's gonna be a running back or a receiver or something like that. And it was the same thing for Terrell Pryor. Pryor was
Yeah.
this stud quarterback, and then
Yes.
he ended up transitioning to a wide receiver. Um, but like Lamar is like, no, I'm a quarterback. I remember his interviews. No, I'm a quarterback.
Yep.
Oh, would you play running back? No, I'm a quarterback. Um, I I see both sides of that, right? Like I admire Lamar for sticking to his
Hmm.
guns and be like, no, this is who I am. This is what I am. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna live or I'm gonna die by it. At the same time, like, you know, what's the harm with making it as a safety?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always that fine line, like do you when and where do you know when to draw the line? Like,
Hmm.
no, this is me. I'm not changing. this is where I'm gonna be. Whereas the other times it's like, oh hey, opportunity knocked on the door and you left it closed. Like you didn't walk through that. But yeah, that's wild, man. I'm like, gee, I forgot about Terrell Pryor.
Yeah,
That dude was a stud at Ohio State, and then
stud.
yeah. Imagine if he had played receiver his whole entire NFL career, because he had like 2 solid years where it's like, oh man, like
Yeah,
you could be a top guy if you had
he.
worked at this.
I mean, he could have been a quarterback too if he wasn't on a dysfunctional Raiders team and then the Browns and stuff like that. There's a lot of teams out there that ruin great talents, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, yeah, easily.
Because I
Raiders.
know Raiders, yeah, I know right now it's like Johnny Manziel has this podcast where he's breaking down everybody. And everyone's like,
Mhm.
wow, this dude has such great football knowledge. I'm like, yeah, did you not watch him in college?
Mhm.
It's just unfortunate that he went to one of the most dysfunctional franchises we've ever seen at that point. Um, yeah, I mean, you could be the most talented person ever, but if you have an ego, yeah, you're not going very far.
Yeah. I actually was listening to a portion of that podcast, and he was talking about himself and Tim Tebow, and he was saying like you could be the most talented guy ever, like most talent ever, better than whoever's played the game. He goes, but maybe you're not meant for that. Like
Hmm.
you're just not meant to play. And he was like, I've gone through a maturing process, and I understand that that wasn't for me. He goes, I could have gone anywhere and I would still be here. Like it just, I probably would have lived life a little bit better in the sense of like, I probably wouldn't done all the crazy drugs and all the alcohol and stuff. If I'd
Yeah.
gone to an organization who was going to take care of me. But I'd still be here, probably still be doing this podcast. And yeah, that's true. It's just like, there are some teams that can mismanage the talent. And then, yeah, no, that's a good point. Um, but yeah, man, where I kind of wanted to steer back the whole mindset piece though is kind of bringing it back to what we're doing here with your podcast, our podcast. I always say that we're trying to give perspective and kind of a path to other people. When you guys approach your podcast, what's kind of the mindset that you and Derek share? Like, did you guys ever develop any type of like mission statement, or is there like kind of like a something that you guys try to follow when going into picking your guests or how you steer the episodes?
There's no real mission statement, right? Like we just haven't really sat down and talked about that in the years, even though we probably should. Um, the big thing with us is giving away our platform, right? We want to have people that feel free to come on and just kind of express themselves, tell us who they are, tell our listeners about the company. We actually like this episode hasn't aired yet. I just finished editing it and I have to post everything tonight. But
Mhm.
we had Fig Tree Golf on, and they're faith led. I think is how they word it.
Faith
I
led.
am
Okay.
not very religious at all.
Mhm.
Where Derek loves Jesus, like he's got a cross tattoo. He found Jesus, and it's great. I sat there and I enjoyed it. I listened and stuff like that. Towards the end of it, he was saying, we know Austin Ebersol, who is like the number one ranked fling golfer in the world. He hooked us up with Fig Tree, and he
Mhm.
was saying, oh, he checked out our pages like, oh, they're not going to reach out, blah blah blah. They're not going to care. And then I messaged him, and he's like, oh, it's real. And then I was like, hey, when do you want to come on? He goes, oh, now it's really real. Um, and his whole perspective was because of our follower count that he's not gonna be able to make the cut,
Mhm.
and that is not at all what we're about. Um, so from that, our mindset is if we find you interesting, we're gonna invite you on, type deal. Um,
Mhm.
my big pet peeve with all that is I don't like when people invite themselves on. I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had people already like, hey, let me on, and
Yeah.
you're just like, no, we'll invite you. Um, but we just want to be as positive and as loving as we can possibly be.
Mhm.
Um, and we just at the end of the day, we just want to have a great conversation. That's what it's all about. It's not, hey, what am I going to get out of it? What are you getting out of it? It's how can we further grow your company, your brand, your page, whatever. That's the mindset we take with everybody. There's never been a single person where we're like, ha, we're going to use this person to do whatever. Um, and hopefully nobody has tried to like piggyback off us and like catapult their career because like yeah, you're on the wrong pod for that. You go find Joe Rogan, I guess. But we just want to be positive and have fun with it, and just keep it simple. At the end of the day, it's you know, the virtual podcast, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't make it, you don't make it. It is what it is.
Yeah. No, I love the term you just used there, give away our platform. Like I think that's so big because like you said too, there's a lot of people that try to just piggyback off of what other like what it's great. This is what golf's about. You want to network, build relationships and kind of help each other out. But you never want to take advantage of someone. I think
Hmm.
that's a big one. Like I never want to I would never approach coming on a Safe Par like, cool, I'm gonna get on Safe Par. They have X amount of followers. I want all those followers to come follow me. I don't necessarily want that. It's more like I want to have a good conversation with
Hmm.
Dom and Derek, have a great time, and then if by chance somebody that follows you goes, ooh, I kind of like what Los Golferos is doing, that's cool. I want to kind of be a part of that community. I would love that. Open
Yeah.
the door to be like, yeah, man, come follow us as well, and let's all grow as a community. Because I think that's very big. Which actually leads perfectly into what kind of we were talking about before the pod is as far as social media. You can get a lot of haters out there, and it's just crazy that like there's some keyboard warriors out there that are just dedicated to I'm gonna watch your stuff just to talk crap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something about your swing. I'm gonna say something about what you're saying. Um, so have you guys ever dealt with that? Like anything that you've posted either on the podcast page or Derek on just the Safe Par page?
I can't speak for Derek because he's not here.
Hmm.
I'm sure he has, just with the amount of followers and amount of views his stuff gets. Um, as for the podcast, I was really hesitant to put anything related to Derek and I physically playing golf on the
Hmm.
page because I didn't want to have the feedback of, wow, Derek swing sucks, or wow, Dom swing sucks, or whatever, vice versa. Who cares? There's a couple of videos of Derek and I swinging, hitting balls. There's one that of me that's gone kind of viral where everyone yells four and I don't know where the ball is, and then I just drop an absolute dart. Um, but nobody has commented anything where it's like, wow, these guys suck, or wow, you guys aren't having fun. It's overwhelmingly positive. But I
Nice.
also think that is the people that we have surrounded ourselves with, right? Like
Hmm.
whether it's you, Lalo lately has been just super positive and in my DMs all the time, and I love Lalo.
Love them.
Um, love him, dude.
Yeah.
He sent me a big care package to donate, and I was like, bro, I'm keeping this shirt. He was good. It was meant for you. I'm like sick.
Yeah.
Um, but there's never been anything negative. The only thing that's been negative has been like if I reach out to somebody and say, hey, I love what you're doing. I'm very interested in it. Would you mind coming on the pod? I've had a couple companies go, "No, because your follower account's not there. So when you hit a certain threshold, come back." And I said, "No, I'm okay."
Yeah.
Um, I'm not somebody who I don't hold grudges. I'm not that type of person. Like we had recently somebody miss the pod and just didn't communicate effectively. And I told him like, "Hey, we're not the type to hold grudges. It's absolutely okay.
Hmm.
When you're ready, hit me back up. We'll talk." But if you straight up tell me no because of something that we physically cannot control,
Yeah.
you're done. I give up. I don't want to work with you at that point. That or if they're like excited, like we were working with a or in the works with a rangefinder company.
Hmm.
And they're like, yeah, cool. We'd love to talk with you guys about this. We were emailing and then just crickets.
Oh, that
And it
sucks.
was it was kind of a big company. I'm not gonna say who it is live, but I
Yeah.
was like, that's kind of shitty. And I'm like, I know you see my emails. Like I know you do. It I'm like, if you don't follow back in like the first 2 or 3 emails, I'm not gonna keep hitting you up.
Yeah. Is that your cutoff? 2 to 3 emails?
Yeah, normally I'll do like a follow-up, and then after that, I'm like, if you're not replying after the follow-up, I'm just not gonna keep pursuing it because really it has to be good for both sides.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
you don't
not
want to
gonna
force it or anything like that. It's just if it
Yeah,
happens, it happens. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not gonna beg, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, man, I would really like this." It's like, well, if they're not interested, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that on Instagram. I haven't emailed anyone about the pod yet. I've kind of done everything through Instagram, so I'll just
Mhm.
like throw out a feeler. I'll let it marinate for like a week, and then if I don't hear back, like maybe I'll throw another one, like, hey, by chance, have you seen this? Something like that. So I'll probably give
Mhm.
it like one or two, and then I'll just let it go. Luckily, so the way, I mean, we kind of talked about this on the last episode we did for us, is I'm kind of thankful that we built the community that we have And then now we're doing the podcast because now we can rely on friends such as yourself,
Mhm.
Lalo, Don, all these people. Like, once again, like, we're not trying to take advantage of anyone or anything like that. It's just cool. We have this golf community. Let's collaborate. If we can help one another, you be on the pod, and we all grow from there. So um, I've been fortunate in that aspect so far. Haven't had too much of that. So um, yeah, but as far as like the haters too, though, it's funny. Like I said, I had a couple of experiences on our end. It's not a lot because, like I said, we've developed like the community. My swing, Raul swing, Surge's swing. It's out there.
Mhm.
It's in the metaverse. So definitely we've had some comments, a lot of positive stuff. People like, dude, that's sick. Because we used to do this thing where we would highlight golf courses. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
we're at Shoal Canyon today. We're at St. Mark Executive Course today. We've transitioned more away to focusing on the brand and the community of all. But I remember, man, what was it? I did one of those "What's my handicap" videos.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, dude. The freaking feedback we got on that one. So we were at Dogleg and we had the simulator on, so I was recording and I was like, hey, guess my handicap. And I smashed a 7-iron on the simulator. I think it said I hit it like 210 after the rollout,
Mhm.
which, take that with a grain of salt. It's a
That's a
simulator.
pretty solid 7-iron.
Yeah, can't do it
Yeah.
anymore, but I did it
Yeah.
that night on the simulator, and so I was like, "Guess my handicap," and we got things like, "Your handicap is cerebral palsy. Your handicap is a thyroid imbalance. Your handicap is," so like all
Yeah.
these people just like talking crap, and dude, I'm like, whatever. It's like
Mhm.
water off a turtle's back for me. I'm like, dude, I know that half these guys, if I challenge them to a round of golf, like I'm probably smoking them.
Mhm.
That's the athlete in me. I'm gonna compete, and I don't care. Dude, Raul and I hopped on a call like a couple days after like we let all these comments flow in. He's like, bro, I have like half a mind to come on here and just like start like just messaging people and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's whatever. Like just let them talk. Um, and it's just crazy how many haters are out there in social media.
In a way, I'm kinda happy that we don't because I am the type of person to, like, reply to those comments, um, which is kinda the issue of having the Instagram and really everything be in, like, the palm of my hand. Because it's like when somebody messages the podcast, it's me. It's
Yeah.
not Derek. Derek's much more formal. It is me, the person without a filter and that will absolutely go in. So in many ways, I'm happy we don't, but the biggest reason is because I would sit there and, like, message everybody just, like, absolute just trying to roast them,
Yeah.
which isn't a good look.
Yeah. No, it isn't because it's just like, oh, we know we can push his buttons and he'll come on here and you'll give them their 15 minutes of fame, so to speak. It's like, yes,
Right, which
they
is
respond to
exactly
me.
what they're looking for, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna give it to you," but I'm like, "I know, like, I could say some things," but at that point, I'm like, I have to be more mature and the bigger person, and that's where Derek is always really good about just like, "Hey, relax, I'll handle it," and by when he says he'll handle it, it means he won't do anything, which is sometimes all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good that he has. That's good that you guys balance each other in that way because it's like, all right, it's not that big of a problem. If Derek's
Mhm.
saying like, just let it go, let it go. So that's good. That's good. Um, yeah. So kind of going back now to kind of what I was talking about as far as like mindsets, things like that. That's dude. Okay, for those of you listening, we're gonna make this every time that I say mindset or Dom says mindset, take a drink. Okay. Um
I gotta get my bottle, hold on.
oh shoot. um but yeah, kind of want to go back into that as far as like I said, our kind of big purpose of the podcast is just hopefully pushing people in our culture to just be a little bit more open-minded about things. In the past we've talked about how like within our community we don't really support one another. It's more like your family unit and your friend unit. That's it. Um, do you guys experience that at all? Like we always talk about it, but I never asked. Like, do you experience that just kind of in your culture and your inner workings? Like, do you support one another pretty easily, or what's that like for you?
Like, culturally?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I'm white. Um, Uh, I mean, I would say so, but I also want to say no, just because of the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
I feel like everything is so divided and politically driven. Whether you're, I mean, you guys could think the exact same, but I've seen people go, "Oh, well, you're so and so, so I don't like you," and I'm like, that. I feel like that's the wrong way to look
Yeah.
about things. Like every part of me wants to say yes because of just who I surround myself with. But
Mhm.
then like I also know like on the flip side, like if it push came to shove, probably not.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so, like, you kinda have, like, that inner trust circle. Like, it's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
like,
I
I
think
don't
it
know you."
I think it's harder for me because I'm not, like you're Mexican, right? Like
Yeah.
Mexican American. I am like you throw a dart at Europe and you're probably gonna hit where somebody I'm related to is from. So it's
Mhm.
a little bit harder for me to really have that sense of community where um like you see other Latino golfers, you're just like, "Ah, man, that's it, right? That is the
Mhm.
goal. That is what you guys are striving for." There's a billion white golfers, right?
Yeah.
And there's a billion white people, and I don't really feel like I could go and be like, "Ah, you're doing it." You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't think it's the same.
Yeah. No, that's a good point too, and I think that's, like, one thing that, like, other nationalities, ethnicities, whatever you wanna call it, kinda need to understand. Because I feel like sometimes I hear it too, it's like, "Oh, dude, like, you guys are just harping on, yeah, Mexican American golfers, Chicano, Latin golfers, stuff like
Mhm.
that." It's like, "Get over it, like, it's just everyone." And it's like, "Yeah, I get that, it is everyone." That's kinda what we're steering towards is, like, we want it to be normal for people of different ethnicities to be in a certain space.
Right.
And I think you actually made a great call out. Um, I forget what episode you had referenced, but you actually messaged me saying like, "Oh, bro, is this really what it feels like when you go out on a golf course?" As far as like, do you feel that tension? Do you feel
It
and it's
was
like,
it was the one to Lalo.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, and so yeah, I think that's why we continue to harp on it and why we talk about it because it's just like, yeah, man, if I walk out onto a golf course, if it's my first time there, now I'm
Mhm.
getting more comfortable. Now I'm a lot more confident in my golf game and stuff where it's like I'm here to play golf. Like I don't care who's here and you can't judge me in any way. But definitely there is that kind of like tension where you're just like, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to like can I go here? Can I go there? Where I think there's you know, just because you're white, and I'm gonna talk about it. As a white dude, you could probably show up to a golf course and you're like, cool, I'm here. It is what it is, and I'm just gonna play. No one's gonna look at you different. No one's gonna look at you funny, and it is what it is.
Mhm.
People are probably gonna just more than anything come up to you and be like, "Dude, I love your beard and I love your long hair." So,
Actually, so I think I relate to you more than maybe like Derek would, although Derek married a Mexican woman, so maybe he is not a good example. But
yeah.
I get all sorts of weird looks, right? Like I played Saturday and I'm out there, like I've got my hair, I've got my beard. I'm in like navy blue pants, Jordan 1 high golf shoes on, and like a cream quarter zip.
Uh
And
huh.
people are like staring at me and they're like giving me all these weird looks. And I'm like,
Really?
it's probably the way I'm dressed and the way I have my hair and everything like that. Where Derek
Yeah.
goes out there, nothing.
Really?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
wonder if it's because Derek is the normal white dude. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not in like a
Yeah.
negative or derogatory way towards Derek, but like yeah, Derek kind of looks like everyone else on the golf course in a sense.
Yeah. What their idea of like what he's supposed to look like. He matches the
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
get you.
matches your stereotypical golfer, right? A little bit taller. Well, he's not tall. He's the same height as me, so I shouldn't say that. But a little bit more lean, clean shaven, shorter hair, dressed up. And then you look at me and I'm kind of dressed up, got the longer hair, got the beard and like the sneakers on. And it's like, oh, what is he doing? And it
Yeah.
doesn't help that normally when Derek and I are together, I'm the one who's holding the big camera and everything. So I
Mm,
wonder if it's almost like, oh, he's with him and blah blah blah. So I think that's where I've always felt kind of like a community with like the Mexican culture Um,
Mhm.
you guys, Lalo, people like that, where it's like, oh, like yeah, I kind of like I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, man, I didn't think of it through a different cultural or ethnicity's eyes.
Yeah. Dude, and that's a great call out because even myself right now, I just kind of made that judgment, right? I was like, oh, you fit that mold as we're talking right now with Derek, but like you said, you actually resonate a little bit more with us as far as getting those looks
Hmm.
and stuff. So that's important for people to think too, as far as, once again, open mindsets and perspectives is like, what's it like to walk in somebody else's shoes? And we can't just assume that these people feel a certain way. And I think that's a big part of it too, right? Is we just assume what everyone else is thinking and what they believe in. So no, that's a great call out. Thanks, man. Hey, call me out on that. That was good.
Well, I've looked like this since high school too, so I've always had the stares and the what the hell is he doing and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And it's just like I'm just Dom. I'm
Yeah.
just doing me. I want to go out and play golf with my friend Ryan. I'm gonna go play golf with my friend Ryan. So
Yeah.
there's all these little things, and that's where I'm like, I can't really say that white people support other white people because I'm like, I would say no.
Yeah.
Um, Raul always says a Mexican's worst enemy is another Mexican, right?
Yeah.
In some sense, that I feel like that goes with every culture.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's great. And that's not great that it happens, but it's great to understand that other people feel that too, because
Yeah.
I think people throw themselves onto an island and it's just like, yeah, it's just me, it's me against the world. And it's like, nah, dude, like there's other people that feel this type of way or that way. Um, and so like for me, I've I've made an effort through and I guess that's kind of why like I want to put myself out there so much as far as the brand and things like that, because I want someone to see me and be like, "Hey, I kind of look like that guy," or I resonate with what they're doing as far as the brand. Um, and I'm normally not this type of guy, but like I've done it several times where like I'll see brown people at a golf course and I will walk up to them just straight off the fact that we're brown. I'm just like, "Hey, man, like, look, this is kind of awkward, but I'm Ralph of Los Golferos. This is the brand. This is, and I start talking about it. And I was like, I saw you guys over here, and I thought I'd just come say hi. I don't try to sell them anything. I don't try to press them on anything,
Hmm.
but it's just like I just want you to know that there is a golf community out there,
Hmm.
um, which has been really cool. It's been actually pretty positive. Like out here in San Diego, the Hopped On has helped us start a golf league. So we just did uh
I
league event
saw,
number 2.
yeah, I saw a post about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so we've been using that just to get people out there and play because you have the competitive guys, you have the community guys who just want to be a part of something. And so like yeah, I'll just like be like, "Hey man, like we have this golf group chat. It's spawned into a league. Like do you want to come hang out?"
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been pretty cool. We had like 10 new guys at the second event. Um and I was just like I'm always kind of nervous. So I always like I don't like care, but I do kind of care. Like I empathize with people where it's like, are you having fun? Is this a good time for you? Like, 'cause if it's not, let me know, man. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to pressure you to do anything.
Yeah.
So I was in one like the earlier groups and I was like kind of hovering about like the golf cart area when like people were rolling up and I was like, hey man, did you have a good time? Like, was this what you were expecting?
Hmm.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, this is dope. Like I can't wait for the next one and stuff like that." So it's just like, yeah, I've made kind of that push. Like, okay, let me be more sociable than I am.
It's hard, man. I mean, that's one of the things that's always been easy for me is I've always been very social and personable and like like for my job I'm in management, I'm an area manager, so I think the part that really helps me is I am so empathetic and personable with the staff, right? Like I've got a couple girls that work at one store and they're like in the middle of like wrapping up their season for college and then they're gonna straight up just like move and they're stressing out. I'm like, do you just want like the next 2 days off? They're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. See you in 3 days. See you later. Bye bye.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, right? Like it's all about just empathy. Um, but putting yourself out there sucks, dude. It's hard. Um, that was a big thing with the podcast that I was never worried about because I'm overly vocal about
Hmm.
things. Derek says I'm very opinionated. um, which is fine because I kind of am. That was how this whole thing spawned. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, putting yourself out there is hard. And like I was saying, my younger brother's really good at school. He has a harder time making connections with people, creating boundaries and stuff like that. So that's where you saying that kind of reminds me of him. Um,
Mhm.
I don't want to say it's easy to put yourself out there because it's not. It's one of the scariest things you can do, right? You're married. It's just like
Yeah.
asking her out for the first time, right? Like scared to death.
Yeah.
Unless she asked you out, which in that case, go you.
So, funny story. Um, so with my wife, I we met in college,
Mhm.
and I was actually getting ready to transfer. Like I was like, I'm getting out of here. I want to go back to Cali. I was in Arizona,
Okay.
and I met her. We said hi, and like I was kind of like in lockdown mode. Like I'm not going to make any more like connections with people here because I
Because
just
you're
don't want to
leaving.
make. I'm
Yeah.
leaving, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, I become president of my fraternity. I'm like fully engaged in the community now and stuff like that because we're a service first organization. So I'm like, well, I'm president. I have to come back. So I'm not transferring. And so I ended up staying at school, come back for the next year. And so now I'm kind of like, shaking hand, kissing babies kind of deal with
Mhm.
people. Um,
Signing
and
forehead.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so at that point, she comes back up to me and starts talking to me, and I'm like, oh shoot. And so then yeah, start talking, and then I asked her to hang out. The quintessential guy thing, like you want to hang out.
Yeah.
Um, and so I claim that to be our first date, but she claims she made the move for the first date
Mhm.
because soon after that she asked me to the movie. She's like, "You want to go watch a movie with me?" And I'm like, "All right, cool, yeah, let's go." And we got
Mhm.
dinner and a movie, the whole cliche
Yeah.
thing. But
The
yeah,
shebang. Yeah.
yeah. So that was that in a nutshell is my how I met my wife story.
Yeah. But it is the hardest thing in the world to put yourself
Yeah.
out there, make yourself available for connections, and it's tough, man. Like I don't think I mean, I think that's just how I'm wired. Is to
Hmm.
like just outwardly just I mean, if you saw me at the shindig in Cali,
Hmm.
I'm dapping everybody up. We're doing shots. Like
Yeah.
the party was with me. I don't know where Derek was, but everybody's around me. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just like the energy.
We still love you, Derek. Okay, like we still
Yeah,
love you,
yeah, yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's not gonna listen. Um, I don't know if it's the energy I put out, but I remember I was putting flags on the cars. Everyone's like, "Where's Dom? Where's Dom?" I'm like, "Oh, they're here for me." And I was like, "That's it's a very surreal feeling, but it's so
Hmm.
hard to make yourself vulnerable and to put yourself in that position."
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. And I've felt that too because like I said, I'm the one that's really on the social media, so people see my face on the reels and stuff like that. And so like, yeah, we'll go to events and people will like, "Hey, you're Ralph," and I'm like, I'm sorry, do I know you? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not like trying to be a dick or anything. It's just like, have I met you? And they're like, no, dude, I just see you all over Instagram and stuff like that. So it's like, it's nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then like I dap them up and stuff like that. And it's just like, all right, cool. Like I'm not being a douche, like forgetting who this person is.
That happened to
Um,
me. Someone DM'd me and they're like, "Dom," I'm like, "I've never spoken to you. I don't even follow you." I'm like, "What is going on?" And then I
yeah,
was like, "Oh, yeah, people know I run the page."
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse, I guess you could say. Not that we're like Instagram famous or anything. It's just, we've kind of been doing it now for long enough that there are people who kind of see us and like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
can message them and it'll be personable. Yeah, especially with us like starting this golf league, like we always put it on there. Like if you want to join, just DM us. And so
Mhm.
people like shoot me a message like, hey Ralph, like how do I join the league and how do I do this and how do I do that? Um, and like you said, everything's in the palm of your hand. So it's like I'll pretty much respond
Yeah.
within a day or two. So it's
Yeah.
just like, hey man, like this is how you do it, this is how you join us. And it's been really cool because like you said, putting yourself out there is tough, but I would say like 9 times out of 10, it's pretty damn rewarding.
Mhm.
Like I've met some really cool people just by saying yes to things. And once again, mindset, drink. Um, you kind of just
I'm like
y-
looking for
y-
something to drink.
y- uh But if you say yes enough to things and you start going to things, you're gonna start meeting some pretty cool people. And like, yeah, I think one of the biggest ones for me is like, there's definitely a lot of big ones, but the Hopped On, right? So we always give a
Mhm.
lot of shout outs to the Hopped On and stuff like that. And I would consider him a good friend of ours now, and that all came from just like him putting himself out there, shooting us a message saying, "Hey, like I love your stuff. Are you down to meet up?" I could have been like, "Hey, bro, that's awesome." I could have lied and be like, "I'm not really in that area," or like, "No, I don't want to
Mhm.
come meet up." But I was like, "Yeah, man, let's meet up. I'll personally deliver your towel." And so ended up meeting him at a brewery, and like I said, he's a good friend. And that's led to all these other avenues, and he's helped open doors, and we introduced him to you guys, we brought him up to the shindig, stuff like that. So it's always like that mutual thing. It's never been like, can I take advantage of him or can he take advantage of us?
Mhm.
It's just like, no, we've built that relationship, and it's like, cool. Now we're all having fun doing this whole golf thing.
Yeah, that actually happened to me last night. I got a DM, and the guy's like, "Hey, I was talking to a Sucker Pin on Instagram. He
Mhm.
told me about the shindig." Um, and that's something Beard had told me like weeks ago to expect, and I just got it last night, which is always funny.
Yeah.
Um, hey, and he's like, "Hey, when is it?" And I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. We would love to have you. Um, when they go live, I will personally let you know." And
Mhm.
I think just that simple, "Hey, I will personally let you know."
Mhm.
I think that just kind of eases people because I'm like, yeah, obviously it's an event, we want to sell it out.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, we want people there who want to be there, and this guy clearly wants to be there. So I'm like, yeah, I'll let you know. We would love to have you. Thanks so much for reaching out. And now we're just talking about like his golf clubs and everything like that. So it's just like, yeah, I could
Yeah.
have easily just said, hey, here's the dates, look out for the launch, and just left it at that. But I'm like, well, if he's curious enough to reach out to me and likes Beard and the Sucker Pin page, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, here I'll let you know there's more information because truthfully, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
We were supposed to launch it last week and it has not launched yet. That's the whole thing.
I thought I
Um,
missed it. I was like, dude, where is all this information? But okay,
dude,
good to know.
it's a whole thing. I'm not super thrilled, but it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Dude, and that's so funny that you bring up Beard, because I feel Beard's another one of those guys that's the epitome of that growth mindset, that
Hmm.
open-mindedness, because like we mentioned on the last episode, that we have the group chat, and Beard is in the group chat. Like he's posting and he's talking, and which I give him big props, and I'm really supportive of that, because like when we went to the shindig, we had already been in the group chat for a little while, and talking to Beard was like I was talking to a friend that I've been hanging out with forever. He was
Weird,
just like,
right?
yeah, he's like so nice, and just like, Beard, don't get mad, bro, but I'm gonna kind of describe you a little bit here. You can go check him out on Suckerpin, but like, per the name, he's got this big beard. He
Yeah,
rocks kind of like the rocker, like
yeah. He's
built
got
up
these
cap.
big ass glasses.
Yeah, yeah. So like, you think he's kind of part of like one of those hardcore like punk guys, which Beard, maybe you kind of are. Don't know you that extensively yet, but comes up to you and he's like the happiest go lucky guy ever. And
Hmm.
he's like, "What's up, man? Like, how you doing?" And it's like, I love that energy that he brings to like when you talk. Like he makes an effort to talk to you, like to speak with you, not just
Yeah.
at you. Yeah.
Did you meet Juju, his girlfriend?
For a moment. For a moment, yeah.
She is the exact same way. And then her
Nice.
kid is the exact same way. Like I had never spoken to her kid ever. And he was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I was like, "This is weird." I'm like, "I've never met you. I only know him by Trash Panda because that's what they call him."
Oh
Um,
gosh.
and I'm like, I don't, but it was just like the most that I don't like that family, Beard,
Mhm.
Juju, and her kid
Yeah.
might be the easiest family to talk to I've ever met. It is the weirdest thing, but I love every bit of it.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's awesome. Trash Panda. Wow. Do they call him TP?
God, I hope not.
That would be a total Mexican thing to do, where it's like you get the nickname Trash Panda, then
Hmm.
we shorten it to TP, and then
Yep,
somebody's gonna make the toilet paper joke. And I'm
exactly.
really sorry, bro, that I'm throwing that into the universe. So Beard, don't use that, please. Like, Don't let that become a thing.
He's gonna start naming them TP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Beard, let us know, man. Like, is that already a thing, or have I unfortunately donned a new nickname on this kid?
I've debated adding Lalo to the chat
Do
because
it.
I think Lalo would be a riot.
Do it.
I'm
Yes.
scared, but I should.
No. Dude, because he and Beard are so close. I think they could start golfing together. Like as far as
So
like the area.
his home course is Los Lagos, right?
Lalo's, yeah.
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 Our Airbnb was like 2 minutes from that course.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, you should have come out to Los Lagos.
I
Los Lagos.
wanted to. Derek said no.
That was sick.
I
That
wanted
that
to.
I loved where we played for the shindig, but I'm going to say Los Lagos was a really cool vibe because we had wild turkeys on the golf course, we had foxes on the golf course. It was weird. Like we were in the city, like just outside the city, but then to have like these animals walking across, that was really cool.
So we had wanted to do Los Lagos, but just the pricing wasn't right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
more so what it was. We had, there we go, a bunch of courses in mind, but Los Lagos was just a little, we felt it was, the pricing was fair, but we had felt like, hey, we got to get people here. That's where we were
Yeah.
like, wow, we just feel like it's not the correct price
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
draw
I feel
people
it.
in for the first shindig, Be different if we are on like 50 and people are like, oh, we know what to expect. But for the first one, we're like, it's just a little, it might be a little too much.
Yeah. No, I respect it. And I know we've done a few events now. Um like last year we helped out the Young at Heart Foundation, and that
Mm-hmm.
one was like, dude, we got to find a good deal because then it's like you're going to have this registration price for the people, and is it going to be worth it to them? So luckily that all panned out. We were at, it's funny, we like to deal with courses that are called after lakes, but we went to Dos Lagos out here.
I didn't know
And
Lagos meant lake.
yeah, Lagos
Oh,
is lake.
okay.
Yeah, so
Did not know that.
Los Lagos is the lakes, and Dos Lagos is two lakes. So
Oh, funny. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, there you go. Getting a
There we
Spanish
go.
lesson today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's always the the biggest obstacle is
There's a
finding the right
fine line,
price.
right? Like,
Yeah,
even with this one that we're doing, we're like, it's just like, we're like, but everything that everybody's getting it's worth it. But
yeah,
originally we were like, oh, how, like, where's the line? And that line is hard to find. Same thing with like putting yourself out there, right? You put too much out there, and
yeah,
then all of a sudden everybody knows your middle name, and you're just like, oh no.
yeah. I know. Now everyone knows my childhood nickname. I won't throw it out on here, but
I know it.
yeah, you know it. But
I
like,
know it.
yeah, people were like, "Why do they call you that?" And it's like, "Oh, it's my childhood nickname. If you know me, then you know to call me that." So there's a
Yeah.
few people who have heard that, and it's cool. Like I'm not ashamed of it or anything like that. It's just that, like I said, it's my childhood nickname. So when people call me that, it's like, "Oh, I know me. Like you
Yeah.
know me."
Yeah.
But there's a few people out there now who like know it, and they haven't used it, but I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I know him." Like, oh no, bro. um Right on. Well, Dom, it's been an awesome time, bro, as always, chatting with you. I really enjoy having you on the episode. Hopefully
So
people have
before we
taken something from this.
before we sign off,
Yeah.
um, do you follow the Part Train at all with Evan?
I don't think so. The Par
So the
Train?
Part Train, so we had Evan on the pod, God, years ago. His
Okay.
whole thing is like the mental side of golf,
Okay.
and I think he would be a great one to listen to if you ever have questions about like the mental side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we talked about, where it's like, how do you feel on the course? Are you comfortable? Your stuff like that. I think his pod is super interesting with that stuff. That's all he talks about. So when he
Okay.
came on
Yeah.
ours, he like analyzed our like mental golf games, and we realized very quickly that I don't have one. Which is probably why I'm just so happy-go-lucky, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, if the listeners enjoyed this one, obviously, no free shout outs, but Evan, go check out the Bar Train.
Yeah.
Even you, Ralph, go check out the Par Train. I think you really enjoy it. Um, you can even go back and listen to our episode with Evan. Evan's great, but he kind of deals with this topic, but every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. And I think that's definitely something that I want to dive into on this podcast. We talk about life, we talk about business, stuff like that. But always, the root of all of this is golf. And I think
Hmm.
that's a big thing too, is like understanding the mental game of golf and how to use golf appropriately. Because I think that's the thing is like we talk about how golf can be this relaxing thing but frustrating at the same time. So it
Hmm.
just depends what path you choose to go down. And if you go down that frustrating one, you're gonna hate golf because you're
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna be like, oh, dude, this sucks. I'm not very good at it. But then if you go down the other route, it's like, oh, dude, I'm just letting go and I'm just having a great
Hmm.
time. So no, yeah, I would definitely love to check out that Par Train. Okay, I'm gonna check out Par Train,
Hmm.
and then yeah, man, let's try to get him on the pod. I would love to talk
Evan's
shop.
great. Yeah. So what we did is we just DM'd Evan, and it was super easy. So
Okay. Well,
yeah, I
Evan,
think
I will be shooting you a DM soon, man.
I think he's from California too, so maybe he's local. I don't know where in California. Obviously, California is huge. I thought it was like we could drive from SF to LA in like 3 hours.
Nope.
Nope. Ignorance is bliss in some sense. But yeah, we just shot him a DM. He replied right away. Super nice guy.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully he's close because I do like to get the in-person episodes.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm already planning on bringing our podcasting gear out to the Shindig because I
Good,
want
because
to
we're
do an
doing
episode.
one at the Shindig.
I want
Yeah.
sometime. I think we're gonna be there for a few days, so at some point I want to get together and do an
Yeah.
in-person episode. So
Oh, yeah. Just let me know when. Yeah, I took the whole
okay,
week off.
heck yeah, yeah. I think we're trying to get in on Thursday. So
Okay.
Um, neither here nor there. We could talk about that offline.
Yeah,
But once again, thanks, man, for hopping on the pod. Thank you for
absolutely.
those of you tuning in. Really appreciate it. Episode 11. It's crazy that we're on episode 11 now. But yeah, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all the good stuff. And as always, salud, fellows.